So there I was, making my notes for today's video after a nice, good, long week break from making YouTube videos, because basically I'd felt like, my reviews on other YouTubers were starting to turn a bit negative and I needed to perk myself up, that this comes across my feed.
And then you look at the competition. Look at the F-150, or the F-1 Lightning that came out last week.
Oh my God, can you believe it? He is on the TV again. This requires a video to go ahead and to clear up all of the FUD that he puts out. And then what do I find out?
Hey, I'm Stephen and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back.
That's right, you guessed it. Stephen Mark Ryden from Solving the Money Problem has gone ahead and created a YouTube video already debunking the class clown himself, Gordon Genius Johnson. So in this video, basically, I'm going to do a review of what Stephen Mark Ryden talks about, see if I agree with him, and then I'm going to see if there's anything he missed out on. Because remember, a lot of times it's better to take a complete holistic view of something rather than just cherry picking what you already know from your own echo chamber. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Andrew and welcome to the Dad Manual. This is my attempt as a dad, and only a dad, to talk about the review that Stephen Mark Ryden did on Solving the Money Problem about Gordon Johnson's most recent appearance on CNBC. We're going to cover whether or not he's fair, we're going to cover whether or not it's correct, and we're going to see if he missed anything in the overall roll-up. Now, before we kick off, I would like to point out that I am a huge Stephen Mark Ryden fan. I think he does a fantastic job on his YouTube channel, and I tend to agree with a lot of his opinions. He might be a little bit more bullish on Tesla than I am, but I find most of his opinions to be well thought out, and he comes from a perspective that is first principle reasoning. I have to respect that. Even though I may come to a different decision, doesn't mean I don't have to respect somebody's reasoning. In addition, I want to remind you, I'm not your financial advisor and I'm not your fiduciary. I'm just a dad sitting here drinking margaritas in the background, trying to give my opinion about a YouTube video. Now, with that said, let's get on into it.
About that, you believe the stock is worth $67 a share. Get there. Explain that, because the other piece of this is, yes, we've all talked about the credits now for quite some time and the value of those credits. Are you arguing those credits are gone for good ever again?
Andrew, we've had this discussion many times. Good question. Listen to this. You probably know this, but I just want to reiterate. Stellantis, which was their biggest credit customer, roughly 80% of their credit revenues in 2020, unexpectedly a few weeks ago said, we're done. We're buying no more credits from Tesla ever again. That's it. We expected them to buy $300 million this year. They said, we're done. We've said all along, Andrew, and you've pushed us on this, but we've said, listen, these credit sales are going to eventually disappear. Stellantis basically confirmed that a few weeks ago. You've not heard anybody talk about that. And then you look at next year, right? Next year, basically, Tesla admitted 2 quarters ago, their CFO said, the credit business is not our core business. It's going away.
I'm struggling to understand what Gordon's point is here. As he said, Tesla themselves have made it very clear that the sale of regulatory credits is not their core business and they're not going to continue forever. This is not news. Of course, there is still going to be a few years where there'll be other automakers buying these credits from Tesla. It's inevitable because some of them just can't get the volume up. The reason Stellantis doesn't need to buy credits in the future from Tesla is because of a recent merger. Some of the brands now in that merged conglomerate actually have enough production of electric vehicles to offset the need to buy credits from Tesla. This is not a surprise. You guys have heard me since day one on this channel saying the majority of the existing automakers today will either merge, be acquired, or go out of business before the end of this decade. This is one of those first mergers. There'll be many more to come. I'm struggling to understand where Gordon's coming from here. As he pointed out, Tesla has told us this isn't core to their business and these credits won't last forever. Yes, we already know that, Gordon. What's your point?
Absolutely correct. This is not news. If you're a Tesla investor, not only is this not news, it's not even fake news. This is something we've known about for a while. What this is cherry-picking data, cherry-picking actual news, and spinning it to create FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That is what this is. It is an attempt by somebody who has an opinion, that has a motivation behind that opinion, to go ahead and to spin fear, uncertainty, and doubt into others. But more on that later. Let's continue on.
And then you look at the competition. Look at the F-150 or the F-1 Lightning that came out last week. They have a battery that's roughly 170 kilowatt hours of battery versus Tesla's Model 3, which has 61 kilowatt hours of battery. Yet the F-150 costs the same as the Model 3. So it looks like Ford actually has an advantage in battery technology.
Man, oh man, where do we even start with this one? So first of all, as I've said since day one on this channel, the only way for the so-called competition to be price competitive with Tesla, similar features, functionality, etc., is to, rather than enjoy very healthy profit margins, which Tesla does on every vehicle sold, to sell their vehicles with no margin, or even worse, with negative margins and lose money on every single vehicle sold, and then supplement those losses with some of the profits, temporary profits, from their dinosaurs, their Titanics, the internal combustion engine vehicles that they simultaneously sell. This is how every single automaker today that makes ICE vehicles is going to try to compete with Tesla on cost. They're going to suffer losses or make no money on these vehicles in the best case scenario, just to have approximately similar sticker prices for their vehicles. Okay, so that's one point. And clearly Gordon doesn't know how to use a calculator, but lucky for me, I do. At least I think I do. So let's use one right now and try to understand what the fuck he just said. So in order to gauge the approximate efficiency of each of these battery packs per kilowatt hour, we need two numbers: the range of the vehicle and the size of the battery pack in kilowatt hours. We know both of these figures. Approximately 200 kilowatt hour battery pack in the Cybertruck long range, which achieves 500 miles of range, versus the extended range F-150 Lightning with 170 kilowatt hour battery pack, which achieves a whopping 300 miles of range. So let's do some really rough numbers just to get a gauge of the difference between the efficiency between Tesla and Ford in terms of their battery packs. Keeping in mind, Tesla, generally speaking, under-promises and over-delivers on the range of their vehicles. Ford, at this point in time, are targeting a range of 300 miles in the extended range F-150 Lightning. So who knows where it'll actually end up. In either case, let's do some quick math to notice the difference. If we divide the Cybertruck's 200 kilowatt hour pack by its 500 mile range, we come up with a figure of 0.4. Just keep this in the back of your mind. If we do the same thing for the F-150 Lightning, divide a 170 kilowatt hour battery pack by a 300 mile range, we come up with a much higher figure. Notice the difference. We got 0.4 or almost 0.6. Now, how can we make this a tangible number to try and understand a little bit more clearly? Quite easy. All we need to do is divide one figure by the other. And voila. It appears that Tesla's battery efficiency is about 40% greater than that of Ford. So what exactly was Gordon talking about? No fucking idea. Now, to be fair, until the Ford F-150 Lightning and the Cybertruck have actually started deliveries to customers, we won't know for certain the exact range that each of these vehicles will achieve, nor the exact size of each battery pack. But I'm just illustrating a point. Gordon has no fucking idea what he's talking about, and it's embarrassing for him to insinuate that Ford has a battery advantage. Honestly though, I know Gordon doesn't believe what he's saying.
100% correct. That's actually a really good explanation. And because he's nailing it out of the park right now, I'm going to speed forward to the one thing in this entire video. And I do recommend you go watch this video because it is totally worth the laugh. I mean, whenever you watch Stephen Mark Ryan make fun of Gordon Johnson, it is totally worth the laugh. We're going to fast forward to the one item that I have a bit of contention with, and it's not because I disagree with Stephen Mark Ryan about it. It's mainly because I don't think he harped it hard enough as to what actually happened. So because he's doing such a great job, I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward to that point.
Gordon, we got to run, but I got to tell you, every time you come on, of course, the Tesla bulls come out and say, why do you let this guy on TV? He's saying all that, what's going on here?
I'm really happy to hear this line of questioning from CNBC. Now, I've got to say, it's also kind of impressive that somehow this feedback's getting back to them. They don't live entirely in their own bubble. Maybe some people are tweeting at the panelists on Twitter. Maybe they're seeing some YouTube content, reading comments somewhere. But in either case, it's nice to know, and it's really great to hear them raise this point directly with Gordon. Every time you appear on CNBC, people question, why the fuck do you continue to let this idiot come back on your show?
Just for transparency's sake, do you have, what's your position, to the extent you have any position, related to Tesla?
Well, listen, I'm a sell-side analyst. I can't invest directly in stocks that I cover. But, I mean, keep in mind, the Tesla bull said They're saying that sales
That's
in
why I'm
China were
asking
going
the
to be
question.
strong. They were down 66.
Now, I can't help but notice that Gordon seems to be unable to directly answer that question. It's like he's in perpetual FUD mode. He just can't actually directly say something. Maybe this is just his personality. I'm not really sure. But you notice there, Andrew asks a direct question about, do you have a position in Tesla stock? Instead of Gordon saying, no, I do not, Gordon says, I can't because blah, blah, blah. And then immediately jumps in and almost kind of changed the subject and goes, blah, 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 goes on a big tangent. Now, I'm not saying that Gordon lied then. I'm just pointing out his nature, the very way that he answers questions or doesn't answer questions, a little bit suspicious. I mean, maybe that's just his personality. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think Gordon answered that question accurately and honestly?
I wanted you to say that on the air. That's all I wanted you to say, because I think people asked the question. I wanted you to say, I didn't want you to say anything, but I wanted to have the proper answer on the record. So you don't own any stock, long or short Tesla, right?
I can't. As a sell-side analyst, you can't own the stock.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to pause the video there because immediately afterwards, Stephen Mark Ryan goes ahead and ends the video and asks for comments. And the reason I pause it there is because this is my one point with this entire review that he did that I take issue with. And that is the fact that Stephen Mark Ryan is insinuating there is another reason why Gordon Johnson is not answering the question truthfully or seems like he's being deceitful. When I would tell you straight up, Gordon Johnson just laid it all out on the table. The game is no longer afoot. We now know for a fact that Gordon Johnson is a paid shill. He is a paid shill because he is something called a sell-side analyst. The very fact he said that out loud on national TV, CNBC tends to think that this is somehow an absolving truth, that all of a sudden we've proved to everybody you don't have a position in Tesla, so therefore you're not just spewing FUD. No, the fact that he said out loud on TV that he is a sell-side analyst, so therefore he cannot own stock, this tells you exactly what he does. Now you might be questioning, Andy, what is a sell-side analyst and why are you making such a big deal about this? So here we are, we're looking at a definition of buy-side and sell-side analyst. What are the differences? And what do we find? A sell-side analyst works for brokerages. How do brokerages make money? Order flows, which means people have to trade stocks. So we're not talking about convincing people who are holding stocks to hold those stocks longer. We're talking about it's in the brokerage's interest to go ahead and to get high volume so they can collect fees on the exchange of those stocks. That's why they make their money. Sell-side analysts are there to promote volatility. They are there to create an atmosphere so that way somebody is willing to either buy or sell a stock and have an exchange happen so somebody else can create a fee. And this means that they are traditionally, when we're talking about sell-side analysts, traditionally, sell-side analysts are much more of marketing. In practice, a sell-side analyst job is to direct the trading through the analyst's firm. It is much more about marketing rather than it is about actual true building value. In response to that, a buy-side analyst, in contrast, instead of being a sell-side analyst, they're much more concerned about being right. So a sell-side analyst doesn't give a crap, does not give a crap if they're right or wrong. Their job, because they're paid by brokers, which make fees off of you trading stocks, is to convince you that you should be trading stocks. A buy-side analyst is paid by funds who are getting value and making money off of you buying and you holding and that asset growing in value. To me, this is hands away the biggest individual reason that we now know that GLJ Research is nothing but a paid shill, is because they don't even care about being right. All they care about is creating order flows and spurring up fear, uncertainty, and doubt, getting people to move in or out of the stock. Because if you'll notice, during a lot of the last year when we had all the inflows into the stock and people were buying up Tesla shares, Gordon became pretty quiet. Once he got a chance to come back out and start spewing the filth again, he's out there. Now he's talking more and more and more, trying to get the pendulum to swing the other way, again, to create order flows. So, this is just something that we have to understand. He's not a paid shill of an oil company. He might be. I don't know. He could be. I can't say unequivocally without any reasonable doubt that there's no way he could be. I'm just saying that's pretty evident that he's paid by brokerages to increase trading flow. And on a volatile stock like Tesla, something that has a very high amount of shares getting exchanged every single day, well, he gets paid a lot as long as that number is a big number, right? The amount of shares that trade hands every day, if that number is a big number, GLJ research, the more he talks about Tesla and the more he gets everybody else to talk about Tesla, regardless if he's making fun and debasing himself on TV or not, it's going to be something that's going to get him paid. Well, that about wraps up today's episode. What I want to know, though, is how you feel about Tesla stock, Gordon Johnson, and Stephen Mark Ryan's review on the subject. Do you agree with him, or do you agree with me in that Gordon Johnson is a paid shill and laid it all out there for everybody to see once he admitted to being a sell-side analyst? Tell me about it down in the comments below. Thanks again for joining me today. While you're down there, please give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and consider sharing this with one of your friends or family. It really helps out the channel. I'm back from vacation, so now you can count on 2 videos every single week. And thanks again for joining me. My name is Andrew Sherman. This is the Dad Manual. And remember, failure isn't bad. Failure to try and learn is. Have a good one.